when I traveled, we had a 12-hour layover at Ankara, Turkey. So like I didn't, my phone died. I couldn't contact my parents. I was worried and I was stressed. I think I was kind of worried about interacting with people, but people came through for me. He was like, "Oh, sure, charge," and he gave me his neck pillow and he let me sleep. There's so many people at certain intervals that sort of came through for me in different ways. Some people would give me a place to sleep and say, "Okay, I would watch over your things," or someone would give me a nice word, make a joke. Sort of, it kind of reminds you that you're not alone.
Yeah.
A lot of people sort of questioned it for me at different points, right? And it was not planned. It was like everybody was just sort of showing up, and that sort of, it stays with you, and it makes you realize how much you can also do for another. So when we talk about community, sometimes you shape your community, right? Sometimes you are lucky that you are influencing the people that you allow into your space, but sometimes you are thrown into a place that you don't know anybody. You are at the mercy of every other person. You are going to have to put your hand in hot water to realize whether it's going to burn you or not.
Hey, what if it burns you?
That's it. It's a risk. They are still going to be good people. You cannot experience the good people if you don't open up. So, it was also important that I find a church for my mental health.
What would you say to somebody that has maybe been betrayed by people, communities, and they're like, this life I can do it alone, I don't need people? Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of More Than Just a Story. More Than Just a Story is a space where people get to share stories of their lives, stories that are more than just stories, but testimonies of faith, waiting seasons, resilience, transformation, healing, and growth. And today I'm not alone. I have with me the beautiful one. Can you introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Verig Machu. Now, later on during the conversation, I think you'll find out more about
and you're our guest on this show.
Yes, and I'm a guest on this show. Or maybe Mima is my guest.
And you're the host, Abby?
Yes, and I'm the host.
Okay, so good to have you here.
It's nice to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much for honoring the invitation.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Okay, so let's jump right into the video. So first of all, I want to ask, how was your childhood, family life, growing up? Are you the first child?
Yes. So I am the first child, and I think growing up was sort of normal, very average. I think I grew in a close-knit family, very like tight nuclear family, where like I would always have like present parents, siblings that would always be very in your business, right? So I would always have people that were around me. I didn't have times when I was left alone for long periods, right? So I think that was a pattern growing up, right? You always had like a present, active parent, no matter who it was. Because when I was younger, my mom had to go to school, so my dad sort of filled in that role. He was like the very present, very active. He was the one that I think my dad was the one that first started braiding my hair.
Wow.
Yeah, so like then I remember that he like tied my hair in like puffs and all of that. So yes, I always had like a present parent. Yes.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I've never heard you talk about a brother. You have a brother?
Yes, I have a brother. Yes, immediately after I'm the first, then a brother, then two sisters.
Wow. Okay, so all your life, did you go to boarding school?
Yes, I went to boarding school. I went really early, which was hard to adjust, right? So I went when I was 9 to boarding school, and then I was there for 6 years. And afterwards, I went to Kaduna school. So I think that removal sort of wasn't the easiest.
From your family?
Yes, from my family.
Because you're always used to everybody?
Yeah, I was always used to being around my people, being around my family members, and then I wasn't very aware of what boarding school was. I just kind of learned that I was going to go to boarding school, and I was like, okay. So I went, and I think it was very hard to adjust because of how young I was and how much space it brought between me and my family. And at like a boarding school, you'd spend probably 9 months of a year with like other people aside from your parents, or your family in general. So it was the way it was, but
adjusted.
I adjusted, yes.
Okay, so those times, like when you went to boarding school, it did not cause any should I say separation from the way you were relating with your parents, your family? During holidays, it was still normal. Everything was just normal. Or were you now seeing them like, this was strange? I have to go back to my friends. So,
So I do think some of that happened, but not consciously. I remember there was a time when I had like a lot of distance from like my parents and from my sisters particularly. And I think why it was that way was because there's a bit of an age gap between me and my sisters.
oh,
But me and my brother is like a year, it's like
Okay.
about a year and a half. So we were really close. So I don't think it jeopardized that as much. But with my sisters, it was 5, 8 years. So like I was already well formed and they were like little and they were very little. And I do think that like relating with them wasn't easy when I went to boarding school and then later on because um I think it was the time my sister reached out to me. She was in Jesty thereabout, and then she told me, "Oh, but I don't feel like I have a sister anymore." Right? And like I think that was sort of a wake up call. So as much as I didn't know, I did have people that would try to bridge the gap. So like I said, my parents are very present. So even when I would pull away, even when I would sort of create that space, I think other people were always still reaching out to me, and that's kind of what made the relationship sustain itself. So like my sister would call, she would text me, she would find random reasons to send me everything that is going on in her life, right? So that I would always still like be a part of. And when you have somebody doing that, you kind of reciprocate. You start also giving information about yourself, and I think that's kind of what happened with both my sisters and my parents. So
Wow.
yes.
So they were making efforts.
They made a lot of
Everybody,
effort.
nobody was saying, "Oh, she's not talking now. Let's leave
True,
her now."
right? Because in my mind, I didn't think it was like I was creating any space, but apparently it was enough like that other people felt it. So other people reached out to me, right? And then I realized it, and then I had to also like repair. So it's not just it takes two to tango, right? So it's not just other people doing the work. You also have to give something back. So yes.
Okay. Wow. So what about like your work with God? I know your family, Christian family, and all that. How was like finding Jesus for you?
I think finding Jesus I don't think it was very hard, right? Like you said, I come from a Christian family. I went to Sunday school. I went to all the vacation Bible schools. I was very entrenched in like learning about the Word of God at like a young age. So and I remember growing up, I would always give my life to Christ, always.
Again and
again and again. Like it's not enough that I did it last Sunday. I had to do it again and again and again. And I think probably a moment where I was aware, right? I did it, and that stood out for me, right? And afterwards, I didn't need to. When I understood the gravity, I think that's the word I should use. Was when I was probably in my later teenage years, and it wasn't even that's the funny thing. It wasn't even like a call, like altar call, right? It wasn't, oh, if you want to give your life to Jesus now, come forward, none of that. It was just a regular preaching. It was, I think, FCS.
Okay.
When I went to like an American school, so we would have that on Saturdays in the chapel. So it wasn't even because it was not compulsory, so not a lot of people would attend. So I think I just went there because why not? So we had like I've forgotten the story that was taught at that point, or the Bible lesson rather. Sorry, and then we had like a prayer afterwards, and
you were convicted.
Yes. And I was like, oh, okay, so this is something that I must find out for myself, and it's not just about my family or how much of the Bible I knew or all of that. So yeah, that was definitely something that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you so much.
You are welcome very much.
So you talked about your family being close knitted,
Yeah,
and how everybody is making efforts to be in everybody's business. Were there times where you felt alone? Were there times where you felt people should give me space?
Oh yes.
I want to just be alone. I this time of my life.
Were there times I felt alone? Yes, right. Because even in the midst of a lot of people, you can sort of get lost. Everybody is dealing with something. Everybody needs everybody's attention. You still have periods where you don't have all that understanding or all that time. Coming from other people. So that happens definitely. You can feel alone in a big space. Yeah. There are times I have felt like I needed space. Absolutely. There have been times when I have considered renting a house in Katampe.
Hey.
Far away, far away. So there is such a thing as too much of a good thing, right? So in as much as I love my close knit family, I love my people, I wouldn't trade them for anything. There are times when I've gone, oh, let me just wake up this morning and not see anybody. Let me just
Be alone.
yes, let me just be alone. Let me just enjoy this what it is. Because you being alone does not necessarily mean that you're lonely.
Yeah.
So yes, so there have been, and again, I think because I have experienced times when I have had that sort of solitude, there are times because of that I think I crave it a lot more now. Like prior to school and all of that, moving away from my family, I didn't really need solitude as much. But now that I've tasted it, sometimes I go, oh God, if I was just alone in one room like this, had time for myself. So yeah.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah.
It's okay. I like what you said about being alone does not mean that you're lonely.
Yes,
Sometimes you just
true.
want that me time.
Mm-hmm. I
And,
agree. Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to talk about when you moved out from the country.
Okay.
When you moved out, how was that experience like? I'm sure that was the first time.
Oh yeah, definitely.
First time you were leaving the country.
Entirely, yes.
Your siblings, your parents. How was that experience like?
So I think for the most part it was surreal because I didn't think it would actually happen until I actually left. Like through it all, through like processing the visa, getting all my payments, all my shots, because it was in the middle of COVID, so I had to like get tested. And I was doing all of this. It was like I was on autopilot. Like I didn't even believe it was happening, right? Until like I think what sort of woke me up was when we were at the airport with my mom, and she was like, "Oh, okay, then bye bye." And then she hugged me and then she prayed for me and I started crying. It was like everything just dawned on me. I was like, oh, I'm actually leaving. I'm actually not going to see my mom. I'm going to see my siblings. I'm going to see my family. And I broke down and started crying and like going through all of that. So I think for the most part I was surreal. I wasn't feeling my emotions in that moment until afterwards. Everything about traveling is stressful, but having people that sort of take some of that stress off your plate makes it kind of worthwhile. So when I traveled, we had a 12-hour layover at Ankara, Turkey. So like my phone died. I couldn't contact my parents. I was worried and I was stressed, and because it's my first time traveling, I'd heard all the stories of, oh, don't let somebody say watch my luggage before they'll carry you and say, oh, you have drugs with you. Don't talk to anybody. So for the most part, I think I was kind of worried about interacting with people, but people came through for me. Yeah, so I met one daddy, and I had to ask him to charge my phone because my battery was out, and I couldn't communicate with my family. So he was like, oh, sure, charge. And he gave me his neck pillow and he let me sleep. There's so many people at certain intervals that sort of came through for me in different ways. Some people would give me a place to sleep and say, okay, I would watch over your things, or someone would give me a nice word, make a joke. It kind of reminds you that you're not alone.
Yeah.
It's like if you are inexperienced, if you're in a place that you've not been, it's nice to have people that sort of give you that warmth. Right, so people carrying your things for you, people directing you to the right place, people saying, "Oh no, don't worry, you're fine." Really, showed up for me, and that's kind of softened the blow of what the travel experience was. So the moving, it was also, I think my school was able to set up sort of like a student body, sort of a committee that some people offered to pick us up. When we got there, it was nice. No, Croatians. So they were actually like students there and local students. So they were nice. They were fun. They say, oh, don't feel like you can't ask me anything. You can come over to my apartment. You can come to my room. Don't feel shy, because I think they also knew that it was important to sort of get us comfortable. A lot of, like, as bad as stressful, I think, as the travel and the moving was, a lot of people sort of questioned it for me at different points, right? And it was not planned. It was like everybody was just sort of showing up, and that sort of, it stays with you, and it makes you realize how much you can also do for another person, right? You never know what kind of life somebody is having. So having just even a kind word can go a long way for somebody. So I think that people definitely helped a lot. As much as, yes, it was like an academic one, I think there was sort of the social cultural component. being in a new place, meeting new people, especially in a place that doesn't speak the language you speak. So there was like a communication barrier. There was a sort of fear. Yeah, Nigerian in Europe,
Wow.
and because of the stereotypes that go on, and because of the kind of things that the news kind of portray, you sort of are timid. You're kind of scared. You don't know what interactions lead to what. Everything. Whenever you think of Europe, you hear things like, oh, racism, or outright violence. You don't want African immigrants. It kind of shaped my mind. So I went into that space and I was thinking, oh, were people going to think this of me? If somebody is looking at me, even if out of curiosity, I would always think, oh, is this person thinking, are they? Yes. So I think that was always at the back of my mind, and I think that it wasn't probably a good place to be because there's a quote I read that said, "Don't assign to malice what could be ignorance." So for a lot of people, I think, especially in Europe, especially for smaller countries that don't have a lot of foreigners, you are the first foreigner they're seeing. I think I had a roommate that took me to see her family. They hosted me for a week. And she was like, oh, her grandma has actually never seen an African before.
Wow.
Right. So for a lot of people, it's more curiosity. And it's not even really from a place of violence. It's just, oh, I've actually never seen somebody like this. What are your experiences? Tell me about you. What do you speak in your country? What kind of foods do you eat? Do you like my food? Am I doing it the way you would like it? So in as much as, of course, there are bad components, I do think that I kind of locked out. I got a lot of people that were open and willing and honest and nice and friendly, and it helped, right? So when we talk about community, sometimes you shape your community, right? Sometimes you are lucky that you are influencing the people that you allow into your space, but sometimes you are thrown into a place that you don't know anybody. You are at the mercy of every other person. So for people to sort of be kind, be accepting, be open, it changes how you see things. It allows you to let your guard down. It is a very, very beautiful thing, and I think so. With the moving, that's definitely something that stuck with me.
Yeah. Wow, such an experience.
Yes, thank you.
So I think from what you said, one of the things that has never left you were like people were always there at one point or the other, and you've recognized that you cannot do this thing alone.
True.
Even more importantly, in a new country that is not yours. So there are sometimes some people want to just like you shared, there were reasons that you would have just locked up yourself and say, I don't trust anybody. Some people, because of that, don't trust anybody. They don't want to open up to people. How did you balance it? Because these were the people that are not your nationality. They're like different people, different culture, different. How were you even able to trust them to now have a community with these people?
Right?
Yeah.
So I think maybe this is not the best advice, but you are going to have to put your hand in hot water to realize whether it's going to burn you or not.
Hey, what if it burns you?
That's it. It's a risk at the end of the day, right? You can either, on the one hand, lock yourself off and say, you know what, I've had bad experiences, or I've heard of bad experiences, and I'm not even going to try. Or you can try, and at the end of the day, you're going to have people that will come with sort of maybe nefarious motivations, right? But they're still going to be good people. You cannot experience the good people if you don't open up.
So, that's true.
I do think it's part of the risk. You open yourself up and say, you know what, let me see all the people that are there. If you are lucky, if God is on your side, you do see good people, right? You do experience good people. It's not like you're not going to experience bad people. Not like we are always going to have those people, because you cannot kind of eliminate them from the world. But I do think the more good people you experience, the more you are excited to experience more good people, and you keep experiencing them as you go. So
wow. Well, thank you for sharing. So all about a community of believers, community of people that share the same faith with you. Were you able to identify? Sometimes we hear people say, "How when you come to this abroad, you're really Christian." Nobody is. How was it for you?
So because I've mentioned that I went during COVID, so it was also important I find a church for my mental health, because I was actually stuck in the room for months. I went in like autumn, so it was almost getting to winter when I got there, and I would spend weeks without stepping out. and it was
Even school?
maddening. Yeah, school was online.
Oh.
So like everything was locked down.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
So it was crazy. I think the only reason why I stepped out were probably to like process my permit and all of that.
Okay.
Yes. So afterwards I would like be in the room. Maybe I would go grocery shopping once or twice, right? But you don't do it as often, and you still don't speak to anybody. Everybody was 5 feet apart.
Yeah.
Everybody had masks. You didn't even know if somebody was smiling at you or anything like that. And I remember I was talking to my mom and was like, I have not spoken to anybody in like a while, and I don't know, I don't like the way it's making me feel. I think human beings generally are social animals, right? We, especially coming from Nigeria, we are always in everybody's business. Right? you are in a car, there's going to be somebody that will say something, there's going to be someone that will talk to you whether you want to like be spoken to or not, and that interaction is necessary, right? And then I went to a place where I wasn't speaking to anybody. I didn't have a roommate, right? So I was the only one in my entire like apartment complex. So I didn't have a roommate. I didn't have anybody to like speak to physically. So I was always on the phone with my parents and my siblings, but it was not the same. So I remember I was speaking to my mother, and she was like, "Oh, find a church then." So we tried, right? So I met up with a few other people, and I said, let's just try and find any like church within a radius of the school and that we stayed on. So we went to a Catholic church. That was the first church we went to. I remember we met the father, and he was like, "Oh, we're sorry, I would love for you to attend, but we don't speak in English, and that might be a problem for you." So and we were not Catholics. So that was also like, mass was sort of a new thing for us. So we attended, I think, 2 Sundays. But then you're like, let's try and find somewhere where we can speak to people, where we can like understand what was being preached. And so we met with other students, and then they're like, "Oh, okay, there is a Baptist church somewhere here, blah blah blah." And we tried it one Sunday, and the way they received us, it was beautiful. They didn't have English speakers, but they had student translators. And it was the fact that they could go out of their way to sort of accommodate us. It kind of shows how much they value you, that they went through all of that to accommodate you. There was a time they gave us winter clothes. They gave us some money for that period, and I think honestly it kind of shows you how the community, especially the church community, is like, living out like actual Christian virtues in everyday life. And in as much as let's say media generally tries to divide people, so having what's it called, people sort of come together in that space and in that way, it really I don't want to sound too cheesy, but it kind of shows you Christ, right? It shows you it's Christ personified, right? And it's meant a lot to me. I was coming back when I was coming back after I was done. I was supposed to travel to a different state to board my 5 flights coming back, because they don't have an airport in the place I was schooling at. And a family offered to drive me really early in the morning, right? Just like in the thick of autumn, when it was really cold. So it's it's an inconvenience. It's not just a random, and it's like a 2-3 hour drive. So they drove some of my friends, right? They wanted to say goodbye to me, and we went there, and they stayed with me till I boarded, and then they went back. And it's just like that level of commitment, that level of care. You can't, and I wasn't doing anything for these people, so it's not like it was transactional. It's not like I was giving them something and then they were trying to be nice. Yes, they were just doing it. They hosted us for Thanksgiving. They would host us during summer. They would, like, whenever they say, "Oh, you should come over," even days when they would not host us, they would just say, "Oh, okay, you can come and watch a movie, you can come and hang out." It was always that sort of community, right? People didn't kind of push us away. They would draw us in. They would talk about everyday topics with us, right? And it was nice to see. It was nice to experience and live. So yes.
Wow, okay, thank you for sharing. So finally, what would you say to somebody that has maybe been betrayed by people, communities, and they're like, this life I can do it alone, I don't need people, or I've trusted people before and they failed me, or they took advantage of me, or so I don't know, like, what do you have to say to them? Like, now from your story, you've shared that there's power in community, in people. So what would you tell that person?
So this is very tricky because it's not, I don't think my advice is sort of one size fits all, right? I don't want to give somebody an advice that may not be what they're looking for, what they need. But I would say, and as aspire to perspire as it will sound, it's, you can't give up on people, right? In as much as people have hurt you, or you've sort of been on the wrong end of community, you still benefited from people, right? You've still had people that have been nice to you, that have given up certain things for you. And I think sometimes it's so easy to like kind of set your mind on that negative, and like maybe 3-4 people, 5 people, 10 people have done it, but then you forget all the people before that have also done positive things for you in your community. And I know it's not easy, especially with the depth of how much hurt. The communities have mad people's lives. We're not saying that everything is like beautiful and rosy, but I do think there are still good people out there. I do think there are still lovely communities that are willing to give, that are willing to sacrifice, that are nurturing, that live out the actual dictates of Christ, right? And I would say, as you're looking for those communities, you should also be a member of those communities. I wanted to be that person, right? So as much as you're looking for people that would be sacrificial to you, that would give and care and all of that, you should also be that person. So I have benefited from this kind of community, and I think that's something I try to charge myself to do daily, right? Always be that for somebody else, because I may be the one person they needed to turn their lives around. I may be one sentence away from changing somebody's story, and I think you should never negate just how much impact you can have on somebody else. So as you're looking for other people to cushion how tough life is for you, you should also be doing that for other people.
Wow, thank you. And talking about being there for people, going out for people, I want to thank you for going all out to come and make sure that this video, like, I'm so grateful sincerely, from your busy schedule, and I'm
never too busy for you.
Oh Jesus. I'm so grateful. Thank you
for having
so
me.
much. Thank you. We cannot do life alone. We need people, families, and even if we are coming from broken families, friends. So God can send you friends, fellowship, like even Christian communities. Just like you say, we should just open up. And that your proverb about we cannot know how hot. How did you say it?
How hot the water is without putting your hand in it.
Just try putting your hand. Don't put too deep. So when you just test and you see that, okay, just allow. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
So we've come to the end of today's episode. I hope you were blessed. I was, and the power of communities cannot be overemphasized. Thank you so much for sharing with us.
Thank you.
So please subscribe now,
immediately,
and like, drop a comment. Have you benefited from communities before? Maybe you saw yourself in a strange place, in a new state, or just on transit, and somebody, what benefits have you had from people? We'd like to read your comments. Don't forget to share, don't forget to like this video, and I will see you in the next video.
I may be here to see you in the next video.
You never can tell. So stay tuned and bye.